You're listening to the Gorehound's Playground Storyteller Hour. My name's Dustin. I'm here with Jason.
Hello, everyone.
We have a special episode today. We're talking about the horrors of ex-girlfriends. Horror stories of ex-girlfriends.
And future ex-girlfriends.
And future ex-girlfriends. Future ex-girlfriends.
I have this thing where I attract psychopaths. Yeah. So, I just don't look anymore.
Dating's weird, you know. It really is. It's like you go through, you know, the first month is like a honeymoon period. It's great. You're getting it on. It's wonderful.
Fucking
and then
everything.
After about 4 weeks, you kind of decide, like, am I going to do this long term?
Really?
4 weeks? You can usually tell after about 4 weeks if you're going to be...
I'm a man whore.
You keep on going?
Oh, man. I have one for every day of the week. Or I used to.
Go ahead, and I'm going to let you start your story. I'll tell mine.
It seems like the ones I fall in love with are narcissists with sociopathic tendencies. So, yeah, that equals psychopath.
Psychopath.
Oh, well, let's see. We'll start with the first one. She earned this title. Snatchy Cunt Face.
Why?
Just like the word says. Snatchy Cunt Face. Evil. Evil. So she used to verbally abuse me. And throw stuff at me. She liked to throw plates. And fight. Yeah.
What would you guys fight about? What was like the regular topics?
I'm going way back. Man, I was trying to... I didn't have a career yet. I was just starting out in life. We had a baby. I probably shouldn't say that.
Hey.
Some of you might know who I'm talking about, but that's okay. You know, it wasn't fun. I had some issues when I'd sleep. I had restless leg or something, and I'd kick her in the middle of the night.
Jeez.
She'd wake me up screaming at me, and I wouldn't know why. You fucking hit me. Hey, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, you know. Cut me a little bit of slack, you know.
At least she didn't cut your penis off.
Right?
You know there's a movie coming out about Luana Bobbitt?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't get any money for it.
It's like a drama documentary. Like, they have actors, and then they interview her.
So she got money for it.
Yeah, so I didn't interrupt.
It's fucking disgusting. No, it's alright. We got some time to kill her.
Well, why do you think they put out that movie? Because of the Me Too movements at the height of
maybe
our culture right now?
Yeah, I think the executives thought they could make some money.
You're gonna market during the most
leeches.
Vulnerable times of our society, so you're gonna market something like that. Trash.
Yep.
Because it sells.
Well, I'll tell you something about psychopaths. They sure like to fuck and know how. Man, she had a magical pussy. And so I fell in love with her, you know.
By the way, this is a rated R show, not for children.
Yeah, I probably should have said that in the beginning. Surprise! You know, after some of the abuse, the verbal abuse and that, things would get kind of heated, you know. And I put hands on her one time. I didn't hit her or nothing, but I grabbed her and put her on the floor. You need to stop. Leave me alone. And, you know, she wouldn't. And she kept pushing those buttons and pushing those buttons. So I went and got myself some up. You know, because I put hands on her. I'm the biggest piece of shit in the world.
So, I don't understand what you guys were arguing about.
Man, this was 25 years ago. I'm not even sure if I remember. Money, you know, job, career. I was trying to go into college at the time. That didn't work out. So I came back to my hometown and went to community college. In the meantime, she's sitting at home drinking Pepsi, sitting on her fucking fat ass, doing no effort whatsoever, man. You know, collecting the check.
That's a shame.
It wasn't. I didn't mind, I guess, but I could feel the strain of it. It took its toll, you know, especially when I come home and then I got 4 hours of studying to do after work, and she just starts laying into me about this and that and this and that, and I need to be doing this. Well, what are you doing? Sitting on your butt watching TV. So that lasted a while. I think we made it 3 years or something, and there were some nightmares there, yeah. Especially the throwing the stuff at me, man. It took its toll. You know, I brought that up because the next one I want to talk about doesn't even deserve an original title of her own. So her name is Snatchy Cat Face number 2.
Sounds like a really bad movie.
Oh, man.
Snatchy Cat number 2. ST Demon 2, Snatchy Cat.
Yeah, so we got in a fight one night, and she's got this little 4x4 thing, or this Zuzu or something like that. Anyway, I go to grab my bag out of the back, and she takes off. Well, see, my arm was still in the fucking car, so she dragged me about 5-10 feet, dislocated my shoulder, screaming at me the whole time because it was my fault. And that was kind of the beginning of a steamroll that lasted almost 6 years, because this woman I tried with more than any other. And if I'd have known now what I know then, I wouldn't have put in that effort, because there's no cure for narcissism except for a bullet to the fucking face. Yeah. Excuse my language.
There's a statistic I heard. I'm gonna look it up. I read it a couple years ago about narcissistic people in America, and
1 in 3, I think.
Yeah, it's 1 in 3, and we have one in the White House.
Yeah,
but everybody's like so blind to it. But anyway,
anybody that follows or is for either party is an idiot, because they're all oligarchs. Doesn't matter what they believe, they're still oligarchs. Anyway, so here's another one. We were homeless for a little bit, the Snatchy Cat Face number 2 and I, and she wanted to be in the town where her kid was, and I couldn't find a job there. And she was a felon, so she couldn't find a job at all. It was really hard. I ended up finding a good job in the city. It was only 45 minutes away. And she was so mad at me. Like, we were on the streets, man. I ended up getting me a job and us a place to live until we could afford our own place within 2 weeks. I figured I was doing good.
So she didn't have a job?
Nope.
At all? So you're supporting her 100%?
Yeah. Well, we have our little street hustles, but...
You have baby on the way?
No, we didn't have kids together. She had a child from a previous thing.
Okay.
And got herself in some trouble, blah, blah. Wanted to be where her kid was at. So that's what we tried. For survival purposes, we had to be 45 minutes away for now.
That's not far.
I didn't hear the end of it, man. Oh my God.
That's not far at all.
It was like the worst thing I'd ever done. So
you felt like you were in trouble all the time?
Oh yeah.
Like nothing you could do could satisfy her.
Right.
She's just angry all the time.
Yeah, and she lies. She lied to me constantly. Incapable of telling the truth. I think it hurt her to tell the truth. Literally. It was bizarre. Some of our dynamic was sick to begin with because we both used drugs. So that exasperates everything.
It's true.
So we ended up staying in the city for a year. We moved down south, 45 minutes. And at that time, I was injured. I was in a halo. And it was nightmarish in itself. That's a different story. But so she got herself a photography job, which made maybe 30% less than what I did. And she was so happy. She gave notice at our apartment. And then sent us down there. And I'm sicker than shit. Like, I had to be on antibiotics for 4 months. IV antibiotics. And incapable of picking up or moving anything, you know. Mm-hmm. Let me back up for a second. We spent a year in the city. Originally, when we moved in, we had nothing. I got us a place to stay. We ended up getting a studio apartment about 3 months later. And slowly started collecting things, you know. Just house stuff.
Yeah, you always do.
Yeah.
It's a new place.
I'm a hustler, man. I don't like to go without stuff. So I get out there and make sure that the phone bill's paid and we have a little bit of food.
Yeah.
Collect little things like, I don't know, a chair, maybe some clothes. Times are tough. And somehow she spent all her money, and then I'd have to be, remind you, I'm laid up. So I'd have to be the responsible one and make sure I had something going on so I could make sure we pay rent and shit. And that was stressful enough as it was. So fast forward a little bit, back to, we just moved back down there. She got a job. And at this point, she's found her drug of choice. Because we're not in the city. We couldn't find it in the city. So she starts using really heavy. And the lies come big time. She stops coming home. She'd be to work 12, 14 hours a day. Which was bullshit. You know, I don't know what the hell she was doing. I was so determined to make this thing work. Man, I didn't even look at other women. Didn't have a desire to. I was like that flowing over this chick.
So do you think she was cheating on you or what?
Oh yeah. It was constant. She couldn't keep in her pants. And, you know, to make sure your gut's fucked up. And I call her on some of that, you know. And in my experience, my gut's never wrong. And she's a narcissist, so somehow she convinced me that I was full of shit.
Mm-hmm. You usually do.
And all of a sudden, I'm developing these symptoms, depression symptoms, anxiety, fucking my hands shaking and shit. So I get on medication, several medications. It took me a year to find something that kind of worked. Mm-hmm. And I was on that for a long time. Anyway. Through the injury, I got the halo off. The pain is excruciating, and it still is. But you learn to live with it, you know. I currently don't use any pharmaceuticals. But back then, I was on a pain regimen. And when you're on a pain regimen, they make you take a psycho drug for depression. And then you can't poop, so you got to take another drug for all that. So you can poop. Uh-huh. So, you know, 2 years ago, I was like, fuck this, dude. I'm done. Every 4 months, I got to up my prescription. So this ain't going to happen anymore. Cause, imagine when I'm 60, would it be on? So I just go up it and then use cannabis. And, you know, I might take a pain pill once a week. It gets so bad. So I'm feeling crazy, and you know, I call her on this and that. She stops coming home. I get into doing my own thing, and she starts noticing that. So she goes on the attack again. starts attacking me about this and that, and who I talk to, and usually when that happens, it's that person is guilty of the same thing. It was a nightmare. Breaking up with her took 2 years.
Jeez.
Yeah. The first time she broke up, she ran off, split, and was gone for 2 months, and then somehow she got into my house and woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
For what?
She missed me, or whatever guy she was with fell apart, because that's kind of her pattern.
Yes. Wow.
And,
so she just came crawling back because of her own guilty conscience.
Yeah, maybe. And I was her Superman. I always could handle shit, no matter what. I was in the hospital for 2 months, and during that time, I had to escape from the hospital a couple times just to make sure we got our rent paid. Get my little hustle on and make sure the money was there. That sucked. I feel the effects of that to this day. I did spend 4.5 years and did the work to heal myself, because something must be wrong with me if I keep attracting these psychopaths. So I looked at that. I think it's the crazy I like.
Well, so it's hard to find balance in a relationship. Some of us are sick, and then you got the fixer who tries to fix the person. Sometimes the fixer is the narcissist because they're helping you, but later down the road they're like, well, I did this for you. I did this.
Yep.
It's not a what's the word I'm looking for? It's not an unconditional way of loving somebody.
Yeah.
It's very I did this for you, so you have to do this for me. That's narcissistic.
Yeah, inward thinking. Yeah.
That's basically the love is like a drug. It's like you got the dealer.
And it was too.
You got the user, and the user just can't get enough.
She was my drug of choice ultimately. Still, if she knocked on my door, I'd be powerless to say no to her. Straight up. I'd probably kill her afterwards. Because there's some anger there still.
The thing about narcissistic behavior in relationships is, I've noticed in my past, you as a person feel guilty, like you're doing something wrong.
And there was a lot of that going on,
They don't take responsibility for their own actions, so you feel guilty because you think, oh well, I made them. Because of my actions, I made them act this way, or I triggered this action.
Right, and then we get into some domestic violence there.
Mm-hmm.
Add some little sprinkle of drugs and alcohol in there. Yeah. Oh boy!
And it's a two-way street. I mean, there's men doing it to women and women doing it to men.
Angel, but she would bring me to the breaking point almost every time we fight. I mean, snap completely crazy out of my fucking mind. And it was a horrible way to live. I'm glad I'm over it, through it, healed from it. Mostly. I still have some trust issues, but mostly it's kind of like what used to be red flags are now deal breakers. So,
what's a deal breaker for you when you go on a date? What's one thing that if you do go on a date, what's a warning sign for you?
It's hard to just pick one out of the air. Let me think for a second. It's a red flag. Well, drugs and alcohol is one. The speech of what she likes. Because she's on the materialistic end of stuff, always thinking about money, always trying to spend money. That's a red flag. A deal breaker.
So one of my red flags is I'm actually on the Psychology Today website, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
Conversation interrupter. While many people have poor this is a quote unquote from Psychology Today. While many people have the poor communication habit of interrupting others, the narcissist interrupts and quickly switches the focus back to him or herself. He shows little genuine interest in you. That's a red flag for me when a woman's just me, I, and never asks you any questions about what you're doing in your life, and they take no interest and they just keep talking about themselves. That's a red flag for me.
On the communication end, everybody fights, but how you fight,
Yeah.
Do I need a break? Yeah, I need a break from this conversation. And here's an example of some of the effort I put into this. I knew we were sick, and I would get clean and not clean and get clean just to show her that it could be done, and she could be using in the house, and I wouldn't use. It was hard because it was a lot of fun, but besides the point, I loved her that much, man. And I went and got some psychology help. Most of it was, well, how do you feel about that? Well, fuck you, motherfucker. I'm trying to get some tools that can help communicate at least with this woman. Mm-hmm. And he actually gave me some. And I don't know if anybody knows about the rules of conversation. There's like 4 or 5 steps. And one of the main ones is use I statements.
Give us an example of that. What's an example?
When we're sitting here talking, having a regular conversation, something you did has bothered me. Why did you do that?
That's like, I feel this way because you do this. Okay.
No, you never say the word you. And if you can't figure out how to say it with an I statement, don't say it.
Give us an example.
This is how that made me feel. And then spit out something, your true feelings. And when you think and practice that, you kind of begin to notice what my true feelings really are. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times it boiled down to, what am I trying to say? It boiled down to, I'm losing my mind over here. Sorry, man. I'm having a little PTSD moment talking about this.
See, it's in your subconscious.
Oh my God, dude.
Subconscious mind, man.
It was hell. Yeah. I woke up one morning with her hands around my throat. I know I was like fighting for air. I had to push her off me. I'm like, what the fuck did you do that for? She looked at me. She went, I just wanted to see what you do. I said, well, what, you'd have just killed me? You'd have let me die? I mean, well, I don't know. I wouldn't think so. I just wanted to see if you'd fight back while you were sleeping. Seriously? There are other times where we'd use until for days, and she'd wait till I fall out, and then she'd run off with my car, my wallet, anything else she could find to fuck with me. And then she'd be gone for anywhere between a day and 2 weeks.
Wow.
Why I allowed that to go on, I couldn't tell you. I was powerless, so, she was my drug.
Yeah, girl. Love is a drug. Falling into love.
It felt like withdrawals off of heroin, breaking up with that woman every time. 17 times we broke up.
Jeez. That's crazy, man. I'm just trying to raise this mic up here.
Hello, microphone.
It doesn't do that. So there's some warning signs of narcissistic behavior in relationships. I was going to read them. Conversation hoarders. Number 1.
Rule breaker is a good one, too.
The narcissist loves to talk about him or herself and doesn't give you a chance to take part in a two-way conversation.
Yeah.
You struggle to have your views and feelings heard when you do get a word in. If it's not an agreement with the narcissist, your comments are likely to be corrected or dismissed or ignored.
Yeah. Mostly dismissed, deflected, ignored, or, well, yeah, but me. Yeah, but you did me. Yeah. You did this to me.
Me.
Well, and the the attack word is you. You made me feel this way. No. I feel this way because this happened. Never use the word you, especially trying to talk.
And you're taking full responsibility for your own feelings.
Yeah, and you're not on the attack. You don't feel... There's no attack words going on, so the idea is that the defenses don't go up and walls go up, and then there's no more conversation. But there is no cure for narcissism.
So this article on Psychology Today is actually about 10 signs that you're in a relationship with a narcissist.
Yeah, I wish I'd have known that then.
So that was number 1, conversation hoarder. Number 2 is conversation interrupter. And just from my point of view, in America, a lot of Americans do that. They want to talk over you. Don't be talking over me.
The rule breaker one was a big one for her because she just liked to break the rules, no matter what it was. Speeding, any agreement that we had. I don't know if you call it a rule, but boy, she stomped all over them. The boundary violator, that's the next one.
Boundary violator, and then there's false image projection. So it's like, basically setting up this grandiose idea of yourself to like stroke your own ego. False. Like I did this and I did that, and like you deserve, like your entitlement. You deserve recognition.
Yeah, we're talking shit about you in front of your friends and any chance they get behind your back.
And then there's lots of entitlement as well. That's another sign. A charmer, somebody's always
very
complimenting
charming,
you.
Charismatic, and persuasive. That sounds like her to a T. Snatchy cunt face.
And then what we were just talking about, grandioso personality, something that's not real, it's fake.
Yeah.
It's a persona.
Right.
But they want to believe that it's real.
And want to believe, they do believe, not want to believe. They completely believe that that's true. Yeah.
Manipulation, negative emotions, warning signs.
I survived a narcissist.
Sounds like a really bad TV show.
It was worse than a TV show.
Like what's that show that's been on TV? Like,
I don't know.
Where people get captured in countries. I survive. I don't know. There's like a show. They get captured by like, gangbangers, or there are tourists getting captured by authorities. Yeah. Get locked up.
Have you ever known a narcissist?
I've known many. I've dated many narcissists. And that's the thing is the charming part.
Very charming.
They squeeze into your psyche.
Yep.
And make a base camp there, and then
suck
you're
the
fucked.
Shit out of it. Yeah. It's called a succubus.
Yep. And then and a lot of narcissists, they don't understand narcissistic behavior. Like they don't get it. They
or
don't
care
understand.
to. Yeah. But that's that inward thinking.
Yep.
Me. So you got a story?
Yeah, mine's not so much about narcissistic behavior. It's more about, I guess, somebody being a narcissist when they drink. Because sometimes drinking too much can cause fluctuations in personality issues. And I dated this girl who is really sweet when she was sober. Really nice, down to earth, very caring. And then when she drank, she would just turn into Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Just make a switch. Totally different, violent, angry, narcissistic, brutally mean to me.
But I'm just being honest. You can't handle the truth.
Just being honest, you can't handle the truth? Yeah.
Well, there's nicer ways to say the truth.
So, my story is about, I was still drinking a lot, and I was living in Flagstaff, my hometown, and we went to this bar called the Vista Hotel. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm going to keep everybody anonymous. But I was ordering a beer for me and my girlfriend at the time, and the bartender was gorgeous. You know, I'm a human being, and I look, and I wasn't hitting on her. I honestly don't know even how to hit on women. I'm just myself.
I used to.
I would just make like a compliment.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, you know, nice
look
shirt.
them in the eye.
Yeah. But I don't know how to hit on women. But so she saw that I was kind of looking, and she got really pissed off and came up to me at the bar, and she's like, you wanna fuck that? Remember, this is rated R show, not for children.
I wanna fuck that.
And I said, no, I'm just looking. I'm allowed to look. I'm a human being. I'm not, you know, gonna do anything.
Right.
And she just made a big scene, started cussing at me. We went back to the table, and all my friends were sitting there like, whoa, your girlfriend's wasted, and she, you know, screaming at you, and
right.
She was just making a big old stink over it, and I was getting fed up, so I was out. I left. I told my friends I'm leaving. I'm going home, and so I stormed out of the bar and walked back to my truck. My truck.
Oh, I thought you threw in the trunk.
No.
Boom, 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 boom.
Truck. I walked back to my truck.
Shout out to Tech 9 right there.
And she halfway. I've never heard Tech 9.
Just throw her in the trunk. That's fantastic.
Should have. But so halfway to my truck, she's behind me, walking fast. She pulls me and starts screaming at me, "Don't walk away from me!" Blah blah blah. Pushes me up against the bank building and starts hitting me straight up. And
Smacking
I'm
you
in public
with this.
Like, not fists, like slapping. You know, girl slap.
Well, she's assaulting you.
Assaulting me, yeah. And so I'm a guy, and let's be real, in this world, men get discriminated and get looked at first for domestic violence. Every time. Well, it just happened while we were doing this. There was a police officer that was driving by, and I waved my hands, yelling, "Officer, officer." He didn't even stop. He kept driving by. So I got out of that situation, got around her, kept walking to my truck. I started feeling guilty. That's, you know, she's being narcissistic, making me feel, you know, like I did something wrong. And
I got one for you.
So I settled, and we apologized. We did the whole, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey," blah, blah, blah. And so we went back to her house, and, you know, we got it on, had a little romantic time. And she was still really angry and pissed off at me, and continued to rehash the argument. And I wanted to leave, so she didn't want me to. She hid my glasses, and you wear glasses, and when you lose your glasses, I don't know how blind you are. Yeah.
I can survive okay without my glasses. I just really need them to drive. So in that situation, I would have freaked out. So
she hid them from me. I couldn't find them, and I'm practically blind. It's in the middle of the night. I want to go home.
Right.
And,
you know, if that was a guy that did that, you'd punch him in the fucking face.
Exactly.
And you know the words I heard a lot when we got to that point was, "What are you gonna do? Fucking hit me?"
Well, you're threatening somebody's life in a way, because they don't have their glasses. They can get in their car. They can hurt themselves. I mean, it's like a wheelchair. You're not going to take a wheelchair from a guy who's a paraplegic. Right. You shouldn't be taking somebody's glasses who can't see.
But we're still men, and we're not allowed to touch women.
We're not allowed to touch women.
Period. And, for any reason.
So
those are boundaries we got to stick to.
My brother was her roommate, and my brother was home, and we're just screaming at each other, making a scene. I mean, just crazy. And my brother wakes up like, "What the fuck is going on? Go the fuck home, Dustin." I'm getting yelled at.
On both sides now.
Yeah, now I'm getting attacked by two narcissists.
Yeah.
My brother's definitely one.
Night.
So I finally find my glasses. She's wasted, and I drive home, and that was that. And never talk to her ever again.
Here's one. So this is Snatchy Comfies again. It's one of the times she popped into my house in the middle of the night. And at that time, I'm still recovering from my infection when I was in the hospital for 2 months. I was having these weird back spasm, muscle spasm things. I'm debilitating. Like, they would start and I would knock on the floor for 10 minutes, man, scream. So I have that going on, and she's trying to sleep. So she starts yelling at me. What the fuck's wrong with you, you fucking piece of shit? They can't let me sleep. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like blind from pain. I can't see anything. And she just keeps going on me. So I put her on the floor. You need to stop or leave. Well, apparently, I guess the neighbors called the police. So she goes run down the stairs outside and snatches my keys, gets in my car. Well, I didn't even have time to put clothes on. I'm buck-ass naked. I just go storming out the door. She's stealing my car. There's 3 cops sitting right out there, all with tasers pointing at me. Right?
Wow.
And of course, I have a fucking spasm right then, and I'm on the fucking ground screaming like a little boy. They picked me up and threw me in the back of the fucking police car.
Jeez.
And yeah, that day I deserved to go to jail. I did. I bit her hard. I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't get her to stop. I couldn't get her to leave. She's stealing my car. Mm-hmm. If a man did that shit, I'd beat the motherfucker half to death.
We don't condone violence on the show.
But, I was in a bad spot in my head that time. And I showed restraint. I only bit her. I didn't choke her out. I didn't punch her. Caveman, So I'm in the back of the police car, and I'm still having this spasm. I'm fucking screaming, fucking crying. And I don't know what she said to the cops, but they ended up calling me an ambulance and didn't arrest me. But of course, they let her go with my car and my money. Mm-hmm. But I'm the piece of shit. Yeah. Anyway, I think I should stop talking about that now.
So here's another ex-girlfriend story. I went on a camping trip with some friends, and my brother and his friends were there, and she ends up getting, high, a little drunk while we're camping, which is normal. We're all having fun. But she decides that she doesn't want to sleep in my tent with me, so she goes and sleeps in my brother's friend's tent. And she ends up cheating on me on the camping trip with my brother's friend.
With you in the next tent.
With me in the next tent. And I can hear all sorts of
fun stuff,
nasty shit. And I was getting mad. And I'm a really nice person, man. I didn't do anything. Nothing.
I would have set the tent on fire.
I didn't yell, cuss. I was actually really hurt. I'm a sensitive dude. I was fucking in that tent crying all night. Yeah. I was like really bummed the fuck out. And next day, I wake up about the same time my ex-girlfriend woke up, and I was really angry. I didn't fucking talk to her. I should have punched her in the face, but I'm not that type of guy.
Good for you.
But she left earlier than me, maybe like 15 minutes earlier. And I couldn't believe she gave my brother's friend a kiss and a hug and gets in her Toyota Tacoma and drives off. Completely ignores me like I'm not even there. It even made it worse for me. I was just bumming. I was so angry at my brother's friend too. I wanted to kick his ass. It was really disrespectful.
He should have known better.
And so this is out in the middle of the high desert, I guess, Arizona, and Beaver Creek is the name of the place. And she's on the side of the road. She got a flat tire on her way, and she was waving me down the stop, and I fucking just drove right on by.
Yeah, good for you. Yep. That was the healthiest choice you made in a while.
Yep. And her mom called me and was angry at me. So we were were young, 19, 20, 21 maybe. I can't remember, but we were pretty young. And her mom called. She still lived with her mom. Her mom called me and was like, hey, where's... I'm not going to mention names. Where's Lissa? And I was like, I don't know. Well, she just called me and said that she got a flat tire and you didn't stop. So, yeah, that was that.
You're good. So those people are out of our lives. You know, one quick last thing. When I finally left the state I was in, I came back home to take care of my mom. I was homeless at the time. I've been on the streets probably 6 months. And I'd run into her from time to time and whatever, but I tried not to run in her circle or her circle of friends or anybody that associated with her. And the people that I knew would sabotage the fuck out of me. It took me 2 months to make plans to leave. So one day I just hit the bus stop. Didn't tell nobody. Had my backpack. Guess who was sitting there at the bus stop waiting? Yeah, Snatchy Cat piece. Wow. There she was. It's kind of a trip because we went full circle. We started in a different state, moved out to be with her family and her children, her kid. And this woman ends up coming back with me? Really? Remind you, I'm powerless still. Okay, come on. But we're not using it. I'm done. We're done. And, you know, a 24-hour straight drive took us 5 days.
Wow.
Between us fighting and falling asleep, trying to get clean. She wasn't with me for 2 weeks. And she decided she had to go back. And I let her. Bye. All right, that's all I had. Right?
You've listened to the Gorehound Storyteller Hour. My name's Dustin. This is Jason. We invite all the women to talk about their exes, too. We're not bashing on women. No. We know there's narcissistic behavior on both sexes.
We were just sharing a story. I have plenty of good stories of women as well.
They're just stories, so don't get offended.
Have a good day,
Have a great
everyone.
day, guys.
Love ya. That was fun, man.